Hello, hello, this is Fear Dragon coming at you with another StarCraft 2 netcast. Today we have some games sent by IPL. These are some games that IPL put out saying, hey, anyone that wants to commentate or cast these, go ahead and do that, upload it to YouTube, and we'll see if there are any future opportunities we have for you. And you know what, I saw it and thought, what the heck, why not? So let's go ahead and introduce these players. Down here in the bottom left-hand corner of IPL Daybreak, we have spawning as the red Protoss player. He's representing Team Startail. His name is Startail Legend. And his opponent up here in the top right-hand corner of IPL Daybreak, spawning as the blue Zerg and representing Team FXO. His name is FXO Leenock. So this is going to be a Protoss versus Zerg. Both of these players much higher caliber than most of the games that I have been casting as of recently, as these are both professional Korean players, those Koreans always having it in their genes to just somehow, some way perform better. It seems like the foreigners are having a hard time keeping up, but that does mean that we're going to have some great games coming out. These players must have played this matchup over 100,000 times, I'm sure. So they are very well practiced. They know exactly what they're doing, and a lot of what they're going to be doing is going to be very intentional. So hopefully we'll get to see some cool stuff. We do see the Forge Fast Expand getting set up for Startail Legend. He's likely going to be planting that Nexus, and followed by the Forge. As we can see here, he's already saving up that money, and meanwhile, Leenock going for the very standard thing to do as a Zerg player. You go for that spawning pool before the hatchery, because if the Protoss player does decide to go for that Forge first fast expand, he can throw down a couple of pylons behind this mineral line and throw down a cannon. It becomes very difficult to actually attack that cannon, just because if you throw it down at the right angle, it can be only about 3 or 4 drones can actually attack that cannon, and it becomes so frustrating to deal with. So Zerg players have oftentimes just decided, I don't even want to deal with it, I'm just going to go for a spawning pool first, get the Zerglings out, stop any kind of potential for that even harassment to go on. Now we do see that Startail Legend did in fact go for that Nexus first build. It is a slightly more economic build. It's not going to change the economics of the game too much, but it will allow him to get that Nexus up a little bit sooner, start mining from there a little bit sooner, start making pros from there a little bit sooner. You guys get the idea. And we also see that first cannon going down. Now you have to realize one thing that Legend does not really realize at this point is, what the heck is Leenock doing? He has zero vision of anything Leenock is doing, only now seeing those Zerglings. So now he does know Leenock did in fact spawn as Zerg. The game did not glitch out and spawn him as orcs from Warcraft. And it looks like he's also going to get a nice little scout off over on this third expansion that Leenock took, a very, very fast third, as that's really going to show that Leenock is in this for the long-term game. He wants to go and build up his economy on those 3 bases before he really tries to do anything a bit all-in-ish. Now we do see that now that Startail Legend does know that that third is in fact down. He doesn't have to add on any additional cannons. He's going to be feeling pretty safe with this wall off and the single cannon kind of preventing any of these Zerglings from running in. Those Zerglings out for blood on that pro persistency pays off, and one of the Zerglings got that kill. Where is it? This is the Zergling. This is the hero Zergling. It might be called a KSer by its friends, but he's not going to worry too much about that, as eventually he will be promoted to a Slayer maybe at some point in this game if he becomes a very lucky Zergling. But meanwhile, at this point in time, we do just see pretty normal play from Leenock. He's just going to be droning up. We can see here, just making drones. He's going to rely on these small subset of Zerglings. He's not going to try and produce any more if he doesn't need to. So that way he can just use all of that larva on drones. But meanwhile, we do see +1 weapons getting chrono boosted out for Startail Legend. He might be looking to do a little bit of pressure with some of those units in the near future, maybe after he adds on a couple more gateways, or maybe even add on a Stargate and go for some kind of +1 Void Ray timing. We're gonna have to wait and see. He does have he has 3 of his gas geysers actually not mining from that third one. That's a very curious thing to do indeed, as this Overlord does in fact see it now just mining over there. So it looks like he might have been a little bit preoccupied as the Stalker was moving out across the map. Might have been doing a little bit of microtage to handle these Zerglings. We do see one of these Zerglings a little bit low in health, so I do believe that Stalker was firing at it. But at the same time, we are going to see that there should be this this probe is moving around. I'm really curious to see what he's going to end up doing, if he's going to go ahead and plant down that proxy pylon for that kind of aggression I was talking about before. We see actually 4 gateways going down behind his mineral line. Let's see, and that would actually put him up to 5 gateways, so we might be seeing some nice little pressure. And at the same time, we do see Lair has already started for Leenock. That Roach Warren is going to be started, and that's going to be very important. He needs that Roach Warren up to really deal with any kind of aggression that Star Trail Legend does end up doing. We do see this should be gateway number 6 and number 7. So wow, this is going to be a really big pressure push from Star Trail Legend. We're going to have to see how much damage he can do. He's going to be in a very rough position economically after this, as he's not going to have that 4th gas geyser up. His probe count at his natural is okay, but it's really pretty low, all things considered. So he's going to be looking to do a massive amount of damage to Leenock. And we take a look at the workers count. Leenock is just a little bit ahead, but he is going to be just producing roaches, as he did manage to see this proxy pylon. He managed to do a little bit of damage to it as well. And there are actually quite a few reinforcement proxy pylons. So he's going to be very much prepared. The Zergling is actually getting a nice surround on that Stalker, but then the amazing force fields trapping all of those Zerglings. As soon as they come out, these Zealots going to have a word to say with them. They're going to regret stealing the lunch money from that Stalker, as it looks like the Zealots don't even get to go in there. There are so many sentries in this army, and there are not actually that many force fields on this right now, but eventually these force field counts will be massive. We do see a couple more force fields being thrown out. They are going to be able to pick off 2 of these roaches, and oh my god, this is such an amazing amount of units from Star Trail Legend. Leenock is going to have a very hard time dealing with this. He's going to be throwing down that Spinecrawler, just producing pure units. He cannot afford to make any workers at this point in time, and it looks like for now Star Trail Legend is just going to back up a little bit, make sure he can regroup a little bit, and make sure, actually it looks like, I love this play. He is forced, as I kept saying before, Leenock was forced to only make units. He's still only making units. He's not sure whether or not this aggression is ended just yet. He might have a bit of an idea now that that Overlord did see the army retreating. But Leenock would have liked to have all of those units have been drones instead. Think about how far ahead he would be in the drone count if all of those units were in fact drones. Oh my god, and actually a Zergling run by actually occurred over in Star Trail Legends base. These Zerglings are going to be able to do a nice amount of damage, as there is only just 2 Zealots in the main build. Actually, it looks like they're not actually going to do as much damage as I merely predicted before. But the nice thing is that they're going to get a nice scout off to see exactly what's going on. We can see here that Leenock has managed to see that robotics facility building. He also likely saw that that forge was in fact already researching that +1 armor, so he's going to have a pretty good idea of exactly where the upgrades are, where exactly the tech for Star Trail Legend is going anyways. And now you have to remember that a long time ago, Leenock did actually start that lair. It is well over finished. It finished during the midst of that big aggression coming out from Star Trail Legend. We had to see, does he have any tech incoming? It looks like for now, he's just been going for that Galileo Reconstitution, a very important upgrade for every Zerg player, as they will tell you. It is so important for those roaches to be able to nuzzle up against the Protoss army. These roaches want hugs, and they have to run those hugs. They have to earn those hugs by running as fast as humanly, or should I say roachingly, possible. But meanwhile, it looks like the 3rd is being taken for Star Trail Legend. Leenock sending in that single Zergling and did manage to scout that out. So he's going to have a pretty good idea of exactly what Star Trail Legend is really up to at this point in time. And it looks like based on that information, the tech choice for Leenock is going to be that spire. Where is that spire? The placement of that spire is actually very important, as, oh, actually this is a very interesting position to put that spire. It will actually probably not get scouted out immediately by any kind of observers that would normally go and check into the main, into the natural, but if it, by the time it came all the way to the 3rd, it might not have a the Mutalisk might have already popped by that point. We do see a bit of an engagement over here. The Roach is actually moving in. They actually do get a couple of force fields off, and a lot of them actually get trapped. This is actually a very big blunder by Leenock, trying to move up that ramp with that Roach count, and actually ends up losing a lot of them. We can see here, just looking at the armies, this is the army for Star Trail Legend, and this is the army as of right now for Leenock. He's making a massive more amount of units. He actually ends up spending a lot of his gas. I'm actually really surprised that Leenock is deciding to spend all of that gas on those roaches rather than those Mutalisks that will be able to be produced in just a little bit. he might actually just be getting that Spire just to do some of those Corruptor production so that he can prepare for the eventual Colossus transition. Now this Immortal's going to be pretty happy, racking up those kills against those Roaches as Immortals do a massive amount of damage. But we do see, once again, just a lot of units coming out for Leenock. He was making all those Roaches and Zerglings. Looks like he wants to put on a bit more additional pressure as he takes this 4th expansion to try and match the 3rd that is being taken by Startail Legend. I'm not sure how much damage he's going to be able to do, especially trying to move at this ramp, even with those destructible rocks cleared, but it looks like for now, Leenock's going to try and go do some damage over the 3rd. No, just poking. It does end up losing a couple of Zerglings, but not a huge loss as those are pretty much just a mineral-only investment. We do see a couple of Mutalisks being produced, so it's not just for those Corruptors. All of the Zerglings, or at least most of them, do end up getting trapped by those Force Fields, so a very good job by Startail Legend being very responsible about cutting up that army of Leenock in half, and Leenock is actually throwing away a lot of units, but we can see here he's doing very well with this 4th being up, with that massive drone count. He's just been able to sneak in drones constantly between all of these unit productions. We see here he does like a wave of unit production, and then he does a wave of drones, and then a wave of unit production, and then a wave of drones, and really slowly but surely he's just inching forward ahead in that worker count. We do see that Leenock is continuing to push, just saying, hey, just be very careful, Legend, because you can't really move out, because I'm going to counterattack you if you try and move out. If Startail Legend tries to move out along this main attack path, then Leenock can actually just come around and try and do some damage over to this 3rd, which is very important for Legend at this point in time. It looks like Legend knows it. He's going to be just positioning his army. He's going to try and mass up the Baller army, and I say Baller army just because the Protoss Ball, it can be so scary late game unless that Zerg has that Broodlord transition. It looks like there is going to be a bit of engagement. No, it looks like now Leenock, realizing those Force Fields are just too gosh darn good, is going to have to back up. He does have a pretty nice Mutalisk count. We can see over here that's about, say, I'm going to say 14 Mutalisks. Am I close? 14 Mutalisks on the dot. I'm pretty good at math, apparently. But it looks like that Forge is going to get picked off. That's going to be a bit annoying. It looks like Leenock just wants to go straight into the production facilities for Legend are going to be quite vulnerable, as well as a lot of the tech. The Twilight Council could get sniped. That was actually, you already researched Blink, so that will be one advantage for Legend, that he will not lose that, but he will lose the Temple Archives. That is a huge loss. Unfortunately for Leenock, though, you can see here the army supply, and just the supply count for Leenock is dropping so gosh darn fast. And that's just because Leenock's entire army is trapped in the main, and he's going to take this opportunity. Hey, as long as my entire army is going to die and your army is all in your main, I'm going to send these Mutalisks over to your 3rd base and pick off as many probes as I can. We can see here those Mutalisks are doing a pretty decent job picking up a couple of those probes over at that 3rd expansion, even chasing down a couple more. But it looks like finally those Stalkers and that one cannon does manage to pick off a lot of these Mutalisks. Actually, the cannon sitting up over at 5 kills. A pretty balling cannon, if I do say so myself. There are a couple of Mutalisks over here, so a very nice split up by Leenock. He sent a couple of Mutalisks over to the 3rd just to do a little bit of harassment. He didn't need his entire flock to really do that damage, but we do see anyways tech coming down from FXO Leenock. He does have that infestation pit on the way. At the same time, it looks like Psystorm is already starting to research once again. So wow, where is Startail Legend building that, or does he have the Temple Archives? Very wise decision over there. Startail Legend, it looks like during the midst of that big attack in his main, realized he was going to lose his tech, realized he was going to lose that Temple Archives, decided to just already start rebuilding it over the 3rd. So a very, very wise decision from Startail Legend. Both these players playing magnificently at this point in time. Looks like we do have a big Baneling transition out of Leenock. That's going to be very effective in this game. As you think about it, and how do Protoss players generally try and deal with these Mutalisks? Well, especially when the Mutalisk count is this high, you try and blink your Stalkers forward, try and catch the Mutalisks out of position, do as much damage as possible. So what happens if, when those Stalkers blink forward, there's just this massive Baneling count waiting to greet them? It's the scariest thing in the world. Those Stalkers just melt. So Legend has to control this perfectly. He has to have very wise positioning. It looks like there's going to be some multi-pronged aggression. The Mutalisks coming in the main, they're going to be doing a lot of damage to these Stalkers, but also losing a lot of health. It looks like some amazing Psystorms, picking off quite a few of those Banelings and those Zerglings. So Legend doing the amazing split up of his army, doing this perfectly. The Archons are getting morphed in, and they are going to be able to do a lot of damage if they get a chance to actually get some fire off on these Mutalisks. But it looks like the Mutalisks do manage to pick off all those Archons before they actually get to merge in, so that is a big gas investment from Legend. Kind of a loss. but still he's doing a massive amount of damage to these Mutals. This Mutals count is actually looking to be pretty in the red and orange. A lot of good old pumpkin and dying Mutals in there. They're barely flapping with their wings full of little laser holes. But anyways, it looks like at this point in time, wow, Leenock just does not want to stop the aggression. He's being very active with the Mutals, but I'll just go ahead and come back to that in just a second. We do see the Hive just finishing up, so that is going to allow that Broodlord transition I was talking about before. Even if Legend does get up that big Death Ball army, that baller army I was talking about before, he will have to deal with that Broodlord transition. As we can see, the Greater Spire is already on its way out, and at the same time, we do see a Warp Prism, so it looks like Legend is very tired of just sitting in his own base. We can see that he's basically had to let Leenock get to this massive 82 drone count, allow him to take this 5th expansion, and really, Legend really wants to take a 4th at this point. He wants to be able to catch up and keep up in economy. We can see here, he's already basically mined out in his main, now transferring a couple of those workers, already starting to get mined out in his natural. He needs another 4th if he wants a good chance to stay in this game. Anyways, we do see now Leenock moving into the 3rd, so this is going to be very, very scary. The whole army of Legend is over here, and the Nexus is going to go down. Oh my god, wait, oh no, Leenock, what are you doing? Leenock, come back! Oh no, Leenock doing the target fire down on that 3rd Nexus, but it looks like he actually misfires a little bit, doesn't actually get the killing blow on that despite sacrificing so many of those Mutals and Roaches. We can see here the Mutals count is down to just these 8 Mutalists, and there is not a lot of Roaches left as well. So now the entire army of Startail Legend is going to be very scary. It's going to be very angry. Looks like a lot of them are going to be moving out to go ahead and take a 4th base. So now these Mutals are going to try and maybe do a little bit of aggression. They're looking to see if they can probably try and snipe off that Nexus, but really Startail Legend, a little bit too smart for that. He is a Korean pro, so he's going to make sure that he does not lose that 3rd without a fight. But now we do see a couple of those Broodlords being morphed in. There are 9 of them. Where are they? Those Broodlords being very sly and slick considering how big and how much supply they end up eating up. But here we do see a massive Broodlord army is morphing in. Startail Legend is going to have to be very careful. He needs to either just kind of try and avoid this army until he does end up getting that Stargate and Fleet Beacon out for that Mothership transition. He really can't afford to engage that number of Broodlords until he does have that massive army. It looks like Startail Legend playing this out perfectly. He knows that this Broodlord transition is finally coming out. He did manage to get a little bit of a glimpse of it. So now he knows, okay, I need to try and avoid the army, just kind of expand all over the place, force Leenock to try and attack a lot of really distant and far out bases. And because this Broodlord army is so immobile, Startail Legend can try and abuse that, try and do a lot of multi-pronged grass, going around from the top. He's going to try and maybe do a little bit of damage over to this base, try and catch these Broodlords a little bit off guard. And that will eventually buy time for him to get up that Fleet Beacon. It looks like there are a couple of storms going down on the Broodlords. Oh my god, a massive amount of damage from those storms being taken on those Broodlords, but the nice transfuses coming down from Leenock. He's being very responsible about that, and it looks like now here we see Startail Legend doing that, splitting up the army. There are a couple of Stalkers moving into the natural of Leenock, and that means that the entire army of Leenock is going to try and come back. A lot of Fungals going down on those Stalkers, some very good Baneling hits, and it looks like all of these Stalkers will get cleaned up at the same time. The army of Startail Legend was moving around to the bottom, so that did force these Broodlords to move back. They were not able to kill off this 4th expansion as they really wanted to, and it looks like that's also going to give the opportunity for Startail Legend to get this 5th up, as these Broodlords are so far away. They're going to have such a hard time really moving their entire way all the way down to these 4th expansion, and it looks like Startail Legend looking to maybe do a little bit of engagement. Oh my god, Leenock has to be so careful with these Broodlords. Where is the rest of his army? If he's not very careful, then Startail Legend could do a lot of damage to these Broodlords just by doing some like Link underneath, but it looks like Startail Legend is not going to risk it. He does not want to lose all of his Stalkers unnecessarily to these Broodlords. And it looks like these Broodlords are going to be moving. They do know that Startail Legend is once again doing this very jumpy, like everywhere style from Startail Legend. And it looks like Startail Legend moving around those Blink Stalkers is going to have to back out. Does manage to get out after just one Fungal, but it looks like at this point in time he's going to be in a little bit of a predicament. These Broodlords are going to be cutting off any attack or retreat path, and it looks like as of right now these Stalkers are doing a good job picking off a couple of those Roaches that are following, but these Broodlords are out for blood. They're going to try and catch these Stalkers off guard, but unfortunately for Startail, or unfortunately for Leenock, it looks like these Stalkers are going to actually catch the Broodlords and a couple of these Infestors off guard. Now the Infestors trying to get a fungal growth down on these Stalkers. These Stalkers are going to be slowly pushed back by this Roach Cat that is trying to reinforce, but as for right now, these Broodlords are going to be able to pick off this fourth finally with all the cannons down. Looks like he does manage to get it. And wow, this is such an insane game. They are constantly just trading back and forth. Startail Legend being so active with his army. We do see that Mothership is on the way, so Startail Legend's ability to buy time has just been working out so well for him. As now we see Leenock is trying to make his way over to the third base of Startail Legend, and that does mean he's going to be cutting down the amount of bases that Startail Legend is actually going to be mining from to just pretty much this fifth expansion, a little bit from this natural expansion, but clearly nothing from the from the main. And it looks like at the same time we do see these Stalkers moving in. They're trying to do a little bit more damage, but they do finally get caught off guard. They get picked off by those roaches and a couple of fungal growth, stopping them from running away. At the same time, Leenock is going ahead and taking out this third expansion. Now things are going to be very, very difficult for Startail Legend in just a little bit, as this huge Broodlord army is still actually doing really well. This Broodlord count has been so massive, but there is this one Void Ray. It's going to be very annoying. Oh my god, actually it looks like there is nothing to stop this Void Ray, and even the reinforcing units are getting caught off guard by this massive Stalker count, and it looks like even the High Templar are joining in, getting some feedbacks down on those Infestors, and it looks like a couple of Corruptors finally making their way across to try and deal with that Void Ray that has actually racked up 3 Broodlord kills. Wow, 4 Broodlord kills, and this next Void Ray is also going to go down as well, but not before doing a massive amount of damage. Now we can see here the Broodlord count has severely dwindled, but at the same time it looks like Startail Legend is just going to go for the counterattack. It looks like it might be a bit of a base trade situation in this matchup. Now, these Broodlords moving into the production facilities of Startail Legend is going to have a very hard time doing anything. I'd like to see Startail Legend maybe start to rebuild some of that infrastructure over at that top base, as I don't think that, does even Leenock know that? No, he doesn't! Oh no, that's actually a huge blunder. He should actually be suspecting at this point that Startail Legend might have actually been expanding a bit more. He has not checked his base at all, but at the same time, he's going to be doing a very good job at just killing off a lot of production facilities. I'd actually like to see him just move straight into these production facilities, stop any more of that tech from going up. When you see that Startail Legend doesn't even have a Cybernetics Force, so he can't even make additional Stalkers at this point. But looks like the Greater Spire is finally going to be targeted fire down. That does mean that Leenock is going to be very limited in what units he can actually produce. We can see here he can still produce Roaches and Infestors. Soon the Baneling Nest, yes, the Baneling Nest does also go down as well. So going to be a very rough position for Leenock in just a little bit, and actually it looks like this base trade situation is actually going to probably work out in Startail Legend's favor, as if you see over here, Startail Legend does have a couple of these drones over here, but oh no, he actually only has enough for an extractor. He is not mining from anywhere, so that does mean Startail Legend is going to be able to clean up all of these hatcheries. He's going to be able to stop any additional buildings from going down, except for just a couple of extractors going down over on Startail Legend's side of the map. And these Stalkers are going to be very good in this base trade situation. They're going to be able to dart all the way around. They don't even have to try and engage these Broodlords. These Broodlords are going to be able to pick off all the main of Startail Legend, but Startail Legend still has his base all the way up here. Now think about it. How long is it going to take for these Broodlords to slowly make their way all the way up here, all the way over here, and then finally start attacking this base? Surely not before a lot of the production facilities and most of the buildings for Leenock are basically just killed off. And at this point, Startail Legend is still mining. That does mean he can even save up money to build something way down here. He can just go into this crazy base trade situation where he can throw everything across the map, and he knows he can just exploit Leenock's immobility. Now at the same time, we do see both these players cleaning up all the units. Let's go ahead and take a look at the units counting station to see what exactly these players are going to be left with. At this point in time, Leenock is actually just left with, let's see, one extractor over here, one extractor over here, and it looks like he did manage to build one more extractor over there. He does have enough money for 2 more extractors, has 19 drones, a lot of overlords, but those are not going to be quite as useful as maybe he would like. Oh, what he would give to have those overlords just do at least 1 damage maybe or something. That would actually be really nice for him. But anyways, it looks like Startail Legend is moving his way across the map. He is slowly but surely cleaning up a lot of those extractors. It looks like this might actually be the only extractor left on the map for Leenox, so he's going to have to be very careful. He needs to be very responsible about sending these drones to some locations where he can actually throw down a couple more extractors, as really Leenox has to somehow find a way to kill off this army of Startail Legend, and Startail Legend is going to continue to dart around. He does get some good feedbacks off, and oh my god, I think with this Mothership, he's actually going to be able to clean up this army. This Broodlord count is just not high enough, and it looks like there is the Vortex going down on most of the Broodlords, and now the army will pretty much just go in, and I'm pretty sure that Leenox army is just going to die at this point. Let's see what's going to happen. Unless somehow Leenox did manage to throw in 20 infestors into that Vortex. No, it looks like that was not the case. He was not able to throw out 50 infested Terrans. It looks like that is actually going to end the game, so a crazy game going on from Startail Legend and FXO. Leenox, thank you so much to both of these players for submitting this replay to IPL, or by submitting it, I mean just playing in it. And thank you so much to IPL for giving me the opportunity to cast this replay. It was a really fun replay to cast, very high level of play, and really cool stuff we got to see. And yeah, really thank you so much. And anyways, for everyone else that is not interested in just the whole IPL, thank you stuff. If you guys have any replays that you want casted, just like these casts, this was a pro level replay, but most of the time I do end up doing some of that lower league replay just to give a little bit more name and allow people to get their name out there just a little bit more. So go ahead and send those replays to feardragon64@gmail.com. I will 100% of the time eventually get to that replay that you do send me, so it will eventually be casted, I promise. At least as of right now, where I'm not getting hundreds and hundreds of replays every day or anything. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like anything that you did see or anything of the sort, you can go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That is over here. You should be watching this from my YouTube channel, so hopefully you can find the subscribe button. Shouldn't be too far away, probably up here in the top left hand corner, maybe a little bit above my mouse right here. Or you can also go to my Twitch TV channel. That's twitch.tv/feardragon64. I also have a Twitter account that I've been tweeting out stuff from, so that is twitter.com/feardragon64. And last thank you, this is the 30th day of casting of my 30 day of casting challenge from day 9. I met him at MLG Columbus, and I talked to him and I asked him, what do you think I should do if I really want to get into casting? And he said, just cast for 30 days straight, cast every single day, and see if you really like it. And thank you so much to day 9. I really want to say you helped me really kind of grow my casting. I really enjoy casting, and just doing this challenge accepted, really made me realize that I would cast to a dry wall if I needed to. I don't even care too much if people are listening. I just really enjoy casting StarCraft games, and it really just makes the entire process a lot more enjoyable for me, and I love being able to share it with even a couple of people, just with my friends. So thank you so much for that, and I'll see you guys next time. Continue to look for stuff from my channel. Just because I'm done with that casting challenge does not mean I will not try and come out with daily content, so be looking for that. I'll see you later, guys.